this is Ginni on Bed TV, back for another episode of Entirely Powered by Ginni. Now, I'm coming to you from one of the greatest cities in the world, one of my personal favourites. It's the concrete jungle where dreams are made of. New York City. During my time here, I've had the privilege to sit down with some awesome talent. Let's kick off with Huffington Post Gay. Now, you've all heard of Huffington Post, headed up by Ariana Huffington. It's the online destination for news, blogs, and original content on everything you can imagine. And you guessed it, there's even a blog dedicated to the LGBTIQ community called Huffington Post Gay. Headed up by executive editor Noah Michelson and deputy editor Curtis Wong, Huffington Post Gay Voices is one of the most read online LGBTIQ publications in the world. I went to Huffington Post on the Lower East Side of this city, and considering the legends that have walked these halls on a daily basis, I thought it'd be best that I ditch the white t-shirt and put on something a little more fashionable. Now, this is kind of a new, concept because it's been around for 3 years.
Yeah.
Who thought of it? Did Ariana have anything to do with it? Did she kind of go, Noah, I want you, and I want you, and I want you to make this happen?
That is exactly what happened. I was working at Out Magazine, which is another gay magazine, and they came to me and said, we want to start a queer section, and, would you be interested in applying? And I said, yeah, and it made sense. We were doing so much queer stuff already at the Huffington Post. There just wasn't one place to put it all. Right. So why not put it all in one place and then also expand and really reach out and try and cover as many different aspects of queer life as we could, both in America but also around the world. So it's everything from politics to entertainment, but also, sex and relationships and families. So they brought me in and I really kind of luckily got to do whatever I wanted. They put a lot of trust in my hands, and this is a dream job. I wake up every morning and think I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do something that I love and something I care about. And, I got an email today from someone, and he said, he's a singer-songwriter, and we featured one of his videos. And he said, you changed my world. Because if you get something on the Huffington Post, thousands of people are going to see it. Hundreds of thousands of people sometimes. So, we get to do a lot of work, and really we can see change happen in a very literal way, which is pretty cool.
Out Magazine that Noah once worked for isn't just any old LGBT publication. It's the leading gay fashion and lifestyle brand in the world and hosts the prestigious Out 100 star-studded event. And Noah worked his way up from intern to editor. Given that you worked for Out Magazine before you're working for Huffington Post Gay now, obviously a lot of the content there is LGBTIQ. Your background, was it kind of skewed that way too, or did you have a more kind of open content?
My background is poetry.
Really?
I'm a poet, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I came from New York to go to New York University, NYU, to get my graduate degree in poetry.
Wow.
And I did that for 3 years, and I got to write my poems, and it was amazing. And then I graduated, and I realized there's no work for a poet. You know what I mean? So I had thousands of dollars in debt from going to poetry school, and I needed a job. So I thought I was 29 years old, and I had no career. Freaked me out.
Yeah.
So I applied at Out Magazine, and it was just an unpaid internship, and I worked 2 days a week, and then I started working 3 days a week, and then 4 days a week, and finally, I wouldn't leave. It was supposed to be 3 months, and I refused to leave.
Yeah.
And they hired me and paid me nothing, and I said, I'm going to make this my career, because I loved it.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of worked my way up, and then I came to the Huffington Post.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah.
And in New York City, it's a very classic story. I've heard so many people just moved here. They used to hand out flyers so they could work out at gyms.
Right.
And, you work for free at this publication. Now you're heading up one of the biggest gay online publications in the world.
It's true.
What a story.
Yeah, and I think it's, like I said, I was 29 years old, and I didn't have a career, and so there were other interns working with me who were 19, 18, not really doing the same work I did. I always tell people, if you want to get somewhere, how to put in the work.
Yeah.
And so I would work, I would work 4 days a week, 5 days a week for free, and then I would go to another job to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And I would take any writing opportunity they gave me. The dumbest things I didn't want to write about, I still wrote about them. And it paid off, So I always think you can show up in New York, but if you don't actually show up and are actually willing to do the work, your charm's only going to get you so far,
Exactly.
So I think it's an exciting story, but it was a lot of sweat. It didn't just happen, so.
Do you revisit the poetry at any stage, like maybe on Valentine's Day?
Well, yeah. Actually, all of my poems are about, like, murder and killing my ex-boyfriends. Yeah, it's true. It's pretty gruesome. But, yeah, I still write. I actually just had some poems come out in a journal recently, and I love it. It's very different than what I do here. So it's kind of a release in some ways to write. It's not quite so, conversational or narrative.
How does Huffington Post Gay Voices keep its content international and not just to the confines of New York City? Deputy Editor Curtis Wong hails from a background of working internationally, spending some time in journalism in the Czech Republic. You have such a great portal here because even from Australia we get people jumping on your hashtags, your articles. How do you keep the content so, relevant and so original?
We always try to look at a specific news story. For example, recent things have been, the issues with gays in Russia, and also the issue around gay marriage and Chick-fil-A. I don't know if you're familiar with both of those. As opposed to reporting something just straightforward, we try to, bring in a variety of sources, also try to present as much of an unbiased view, but still sort of with an advocacy angle. And then also, try and have fun with it too. Always bring an audiovisual component to it, whether that's in terms of photos, video, sound bites, things like that. So that it's not just a standalone news story, that there are multiple components to it.
Take inspiration from these journeys, from interns to travelers to editors of one of the world's leading LGBTIQ publications. Just know that whatever your dream may be, yes, you may fall a few times, but if you get back up and you're still smiling, anything is possible. Until next time, this is Ginni signing off Bent TV.